How a small burger stand became a global empire. In the early 1940s, in the quiet city of San Bernardino, California, two brothers opened a small roadside restaurant. They had no plans of building a global empire. They were not trying to reshape the food industry. They simply wanted to run a successful restaurant and make a decent living. Their names were Richard McDonald and Maurice McDonald. And the small restaurant they opened would eventually become one of the most recognizable brands in human history. But the story of McDonald's is not just about hamburgers. It is a story of innovation, ambition, and one of the most controversial business takeovers in modern corporate history. The beginning. In 1940, the McDonald brothers opened their first restaurant in San Bernardino. At the time, it looked like a typical American drive-in restaurant. Customers would park their cars, and car hops, servers who walked up to vehicles would bring food directly to them. The menu was large and included a variety of items: hot dogs, barbecue, sandwiches, and of course, hamburgers. Drive-in restaurants were extremely popular in America during the 1940s and 1950s, but running them was complicated. Service was slow, orders were often mixed up, and managing employees was expensive. The McDonald brothers soon noticed something interesting about their business. Despite the large menu, most of their profits came from one single item: hamburgers. This realization would change everything. The experiment that changed fast food. In 1948, the McDonald brothers made a radical decision. They closed their restaurant for several months. During this time, they completely redesigned their entire business model. When the restaurant reopened, it was almost unrecognizable, been reduced dramatically. Instead of dozens of items, there were now only 9 simple foods: hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, milkshakes, and a few drinks. But the biggest change was the way the food was prepared. The brothers created something called the Speedy Service System. Inspired by Henry Ford's assembly line, each worker performed one specific task. One employee grilled the burger patties. Another added ketchup, mustard, and pickles. Another wrapped the burger. Every movement was carefully designed to eliminate wasted time. Instead of waiting several minutes for food, customers could now receive their meal in seconds. The brothers also removed the car hops. Customers now walked up to a window to order their food. This simple change reduced labor costs and increased speed. It was the birth of the modern fast food restaurant. Brilliantly, the small burger stand became incredibly efficient. Soon the restaurant was selling thousands of burgers every single day. Then, in 1954, a traveling salesman noticed something unusual. A small restaurant in California had ordered 8 milkshake machines at once. Most restaurants only needed one. The salesman's name was Ray Kroc. At the time, Kroc was selling a product called the multi-mixer, a machine capable of making multiple milkshakes at the same time. Curious about the unusually large order, Kroc decided to visit the restaurant himself. When he arrived in San Bernardino, he was stunned. The McDonald brothers' restaurant was operating with incredible efficiency. Customers lined up at the counter. Orders were taken quickly, and within seconds, food was delivered. No waiters, no plates, no delays. Successful restaurant. It was a revolutionary business system, and he immediately believed it could spread across the entire country. The vision of Ray Kroc. Ray Kroc approached the McDonald brothers with an idea. He wanted to franchise their restaurant concept across the United States. The brothers were hesitant. They had experimented with franchising before, and it had caused many problems. Some franchise locations ignored their standards. Others damaged the brand. The brothers preferred keeping the business small and manageable. But Ray Kroc had a different vision. He imagined hundreds, even thousands, of McDonald's restaurants across America. Eventually, the brothers agreed to let him handle national franchising. Rapid expansion. In 1955, Ray Kroc opened the first franchised McDonald's restaurant in Des Plaines, Illinois. This location would later be considered the birthplace of the McDonald's franchise empire. Kroc worked tirelessly to expand the brand. New restaurants began opening across the country, but despite the growth, Ray Kroc was facing a major problem. His share of the franchise revenue was extremely small. In fact, even as McDonald's expanded rapidly, Kroc himself was nearly broke. Then a businessman named Harry Sonneborn introduced a strategy that would change everything. Instead of simply selling burgers, McDonald's would control the real estate beneath each restaurant. The company would purchase the land, then lease it to franchise owners. This meant McDonald's would earn rent from every location. Even if a restaurant failed, the company would still own valuable property. This real estate strategy transformed McDonald's into one of the most powerful business models in the world. As one executive famously said, McDonald's is not really in the burger business, the hamburger business. It's in the real estate business. The battle for control. But while the company grew larger, tension between Ray Kroc and the McDonald brothers was growing. The brothers believed in slow, careful expansion. Ray Kroc wanted rapid growth across the entire country. Arguments between them became increasingly common. Finally, in 1961, Ray Kroc decided to buy the company outright. He purchased the McDonald brothers' ownership for $2.7 million. At the time, it seemed like a large sum, but considering the future value of the company, it would later appear incredibly small. According to several accounts, the brothers were promised an additional royalty payment based on future sales. However, this agreement was reportedly never included in the final written contract. The brothers never received those payments. Within a few years, the men who had invented the original McDonald's system were no longer connected to the company that carried their name. The rise of a global brand. Under Ray Kroc's leadership, McDonald's expanded rapidly. The company created strict standards for every restaurant. Cooking times, ingredient measurements, restaurant design, customer service. Every burger had to taste exactly the same, no matter where it was served. To train franchise owners, McDonald's even created a special training center called Hamburger University. Meanwhile, the menu continued evolving. In 1967, a franchise owner named Jim Delegati created a new burger with 2 patties, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, and a special sauce. It became known as the Big Mac, and it quickly became one of the most famous sandwiches in the world. Over the following decades, McDonald's expanded across the globe. The Golden Arches began appearing in Europe, Asia, Latin America, and beyond. By the 1980s, McDonald's had become one of the most powerful symbols of American culture. Criticism and controversy. But the rise of McDonald's also brought criticism. Health experts began raising concerns about fast food and nutrition. Labor activists criticized wages and working conditions. Environmental groups questioned the company's use of packaging and waste. Despite these controversies, McDonald's continued expanding. By the 21st century, the company operated tens of thousands of restaurants across more than 100 countries. Millions of people visited its restaurants every day. The legacy. What began as a small burger stand in California had become one of the largest food companies in the world. But the story behind it remains complex. The McDonald brothers invented the system. Ray Kroc turned it into an empire. And the Golden Arches became one of the most powerful symbols in global business. Today, McDonald's serves millions of customers every single day. Yet the foundation of the company still traces back to a simple idea developed in a small kitchen in San Bernardino. A faster way to make a hamburger, and a business model that